Hello there guys, welcome to another video. You join me in my office area again today. And yes, if you've read the title, this is one of those videos, one sum of money versus another sum of money. But yeah, it's been done a million times. It's been done with phones, cameras, and even food at one point. Yeah, so this is the video where I'm going to compare two cameras, Sony A5000 cameras, mirrorless cameras in their alpha range, which Sony do. So yes, let's get to the spec of the cameras then. Right, so the first camera I'm going to talk about is Sony's entry-level camera, the entry-level APS-C mirrorless camera they do in the alpha range. It is the A5000. It's in the white body, which looks quite cool. It comes with a kit lens, which is the 16 to 50, 3.5 to 5.6. Very, very small and nimble camera, very light. It's probably the same weight as my phone. Annoyingly, she's got this on it, but yeah, it's 20 megapixels and it's a APS-C size sensor, does video and everything, but we'll get into more of the specs later on in the video. So that's the camera. This is Sony's entry-level camera. You can still actually buy this in store. So that's that camera, and obviously the next camera, you guys already know I have this camera if you're watching videos, it's the A6500. Okay, yeah, so I just want to stop the video there. While I was editing this video, it was very, very annoying because every time I said my camera's name, the A6500, I said the A6500, which is not its name. I was getting confused with the A5000, and then because I was saying 5,000, I was saying 65,000 for the A6500. So every time I mention the camera's name, I'm going to put in this clip and say A6500. Okay, hope that clears that up. At the moment, this is Sony's kind of latest model, latest flagship model for the APS-C range. The alpha range A6500. Does 4K, it's got 24 megapixels, and I've got the 10 to 18 lens on it at the moment. There's a good look at the camera. It's got a hot shoe as well, electronic viewfinder, and all that stuff. So you're wondering what the retail price is. You probably already read it in the title, but this one, this camera with the kit lens, everything you see here, retails in the UK for £299. £299 for a 20 megapixel APS-C mirrorless with a kit lens. Now I had a 7D Mark II by Canon. It was an APS-C, 20 megapixels, and it did have the kit lens when I bought it, I think, and that was about £1,000. This, £299. When it came out, first when it came out, probably £350, £400, but right now, £299, which I think is an absolute steal for a camera which has the features like this, it has got in it. So we are comparing it to this camera, the A6500, and this camera, body only, retails at £1,279 in the UK, and the lens I have on it is the 10 to 18, which is priced at $699. So altogether, what you see here is about £2,000, 1,900 and whatever. Yeah, so £2,000 Sony versus a $299 Sony. Is it really worth spending £2,000? Well, you can spend $299. Let's find out. So yeah, it was kind of tricky filming the comparison with these cameras. I've already been out with them. I've already taken a series of shots on them, but we're going to go through 5 points. So the first point is going to be video, second is going to be photo, third is going to be low light, fourth is going to be build quality, and fifth is going to be ease of use. Right, so it's quite hard, as I said, comparing these cameras, because at one point I thought of putting one of the lenses on the other camera and the kit lens from here onto the A6500 and vice versa, and even trying the lens I've got filming right now. But I thought scrap that, because if I go around changing lenses, then it changes what the actual price point of the camera is. So we're actually dealing with $299 and £2,000. So this is quite a tricky one with the video capabilities, because one camera can do so many variables in the A6500, and this camera can only do about 3 or 4 things. So this will give you 1080, full 1080, 1920 by 1080. You can shoot in 25 frames per second, also 24, and you can also shoot in 60p as well, and 60i in this camera. So you can get slow motion out of this camera. Way back, so when I had the 7D Mark II, that didn't even do, well, I think it is 60p, but the equivalent to this back then was, I think it was a 70D or even a 60D, and that didn't have slow-mo in it at all. So this camera passed that straight away on the video capabilities. Also, it could do normal HD, which is 720 by 480, but yeah, no 4K, just strictly 1080, and a slow-mo feature as well. Yeah, so you can shoot in MPEG-4 and AVC HD. That's what Sony call their HD thing in another format. Yeah, and also this camera can go from 100 ISO all the way up to only 16,000 ISO. Right, onto this guy, which you guys probably know. Throughout the years, Sony has absolutely smashed the video capabilities in the alpha range. From this to this, I mean, you're getting a whole lot more video features. This is kind of weighing up better in the video department. I mean, this is the main reason I bought it, for the video capabilities in this camera. First of all, let me tell you about the ISO. ISO is 100 to 25,600, expandable to 51,600. 4K 30, 4K 24, that's the 4K, and you can also do 4K 30 in 100 megabits and 4K 30 in 60 megabits, same with 24 frames per second. You can also shoot European and US in this. Also, we've got full HD in this camera, so 1920 by 1080 in a load of variants. So we've got 60p, 120, 24, 30, all of the frame rates you can possibly think of. You can shoot 1080 in this, up to 120 frames per second. So that is very, very cool. That is something that the A702 lacks. It can't shoot 120 in full HD. And also you can shoot normal HD, which is 1280 by 720. Yeah, so video capabilities on this camera absolutely smashed this one out of the park. Also, don't forget, this is Sony's top of the range, the A6500. You can also buy an A6000, you can also buy an A6300 as well, which also does the 120 HD, full HD. And those cameras, I think, around about 400 to 300 pounds less on the body. So yeah, at the moment, the video capabilities are smashing in this one rather than this one. Now, photos. I take a load of shots in this. I went to Donington Castle, a very historic place in Newbury. Lovely Donington Castle. Historic ruin here in the town of Newbury. Yeah, it's like a castle ruin. I took a bunch of photos on this at 16mm in intelligent auto mode. So everything's in auto, ISO, aperture and all that. Shooting intelligent auto. So I'm going to bung those photos up right now. What I can instantly tell with that camera is the quality is good. I mean, we're shooting 20 megapixels on an APS-C size sensor, which is gonna get you good image quality anyway. But I don't know whether if it was the intelligent auto or something to do with the sensor in this camera. I know that both the sensors are the exact same APS-C CMOS sensors by Bionics or whatever it's called they use. So yeah, but there might be some tweaks in the A6500, but both of them are literally the same sensor. The image quality is good, but sometimes it can be a bit overexposed. But then again, I'm not sure if that was the intelligent auto doing some weird things. Then I changed to the A6500, took a series of shots on that. And also, to make it fair, I shot on 16mm, so it's kind of the same focal length as this, shooting at 16. I don't think it has any intelligent things like that. It's just strictly auto mode, so ISO, auto, aperture, and shutter speed is in auto. Also, these cameras have no picture profile. I was just shooting straight out the camera. Instantly, I could tell with the A6500 is the colors were, I'm not gonna say exaggerated, but everyone says Sony colors are flat. But when I was taking photos on this compared to the A5000, the colors on here were actually really, really nicely saturated, nice color gamut, and all of that. Maybe that's something to do with the nice lens on here, the 10-18, but the photos out of this camera, the colors and the tones, straight out auto looked a lot better than the A5000. So as I mentioned, this is 20.1 and this is 24 megapixels, 4 megapixels, actually 3.9 megapixels. This one has got over the A5000, so is there any difference in that? I reckon the main point here is probably the difference between the lenses. I mean, this is a nicer lens, the 10-18, than the kit lens you get on the standard. I mean, you can even get a kit lens on the A6500, but I would not recommend kit lens on this. Next is the low light, number 3. Right, so yes, as I've already touched on with the ISO, this one can go up to 16,000, and this one can go up to 25,000, also expandable to 51,000. So this one, obviously low light, this one's gonna go to this one. As you know, well, pretty much from the A6000 really. Sony has been killing the low light capabilities in its APS-C range, especially with video, especially with photos as well. I've just been throughout my house and take some photos in some dark areas, some dark corners, and of the dog as well. So this is my desk area, shot on the A5000. This was done at 1/60th f4 and ISO 640. This is me, selfie. So this had to be taken at ISO 3200, and as you can see, if you zoom in, it's very noisy. And also, when you shoot high ISO on this camera, on the A5000, it starts to put little lines down the parts of the image, which I don't know why that is. If you guys experience that, please tell me why, because it is annoying. The next one is done at 3200 as well, up the stairwell. And this one is ISO 2000, downstairs are some lovely ornaments. The next one is the dog, ISO 3200, so you can see it's very noisy, and you can see also the lines as well. I'm not sure if that's going to show up on screen, but I can definitely see it on the screen here, which is very strange. There's another dog, ISO 1600. So it doesn't do that well in low light, this camera, but most people that are going to buy this camera and spend $299 are not going to really care about the low light capabilities. It's probably more aimed at a casual user instead of a photography kind of amateur or enthusiast. Right, so that's that one in the ISO. This one, I know it's going to beat it. Blow it out the water anyway, but let's have a look at what we shot. So this looks cool because it's done on the 10-18. Yep, so this was shot at 12 millimeters. So it used ISO 6400 to allow for f4 there and 1/40th of a second. And if you zoom in, there's a bit of noise, but there is still a lot of detail you can see in there, which definitely triumphs the A5000. Next shot was done at 3200, very good, very clean. Next shot of the bars thing was 3200, very neat and clean there. Shot at f4, so that's the lowest that this lens can go down to. So I guess it's comparable then with the other one shot at f4 as well. That is my dog, 3200, very clean again. If you zoom in here, not so much noise. I mean, there is noise, but not as extensive as the A5000. But this is kind of obvious anyway with this camera, Sony top of the range. And the last one was ISO 800, which I use anyway for kind of the S-Log and Cine 4 when shooting in picture profiles. But yeah, any Sony range above kind of this one is good for ISO. A6000, A6300, they're all pretty good on that front. Right, now number 4 is the build quality. Okay, so build quality, right. I think this is where most, well not most, I would say pretty much half your money is going on the build quality here. As holding these right away, I can tell this one is obviously built better than this one, and this one uses better materials, more metal, also more soft touch plastics and stuff. The dials are more refined, it's actually metal rather than, I think this is plastic just painted in metal kind of finish. The screen is a lot more strong with obviously this hinge here. I mean, the LCD screen is pretty much the same. You do get more colors and stuff and more crispness through the screen here. Obviously topping the range of the Alpha range. This, I mean, you can still see everything on the screen. The lens, I'm not sure if that's actually metal. There's some plastic in there and some thin metal going around the outside. But it's a decent lens. I've had Canon lenses which are less quality than this actually, the 50mm 1.8. But yeah, build quality on this is not bad. But around here is some, you know, plastics which are quite hard. You can see where this camera is obviously less money because of the materials they use, but all in all, it's not gonna fall apart. Now this, you can obviously tell there's nice, soft, feely plastics here. There's more metal in the body. There's metal hot shoe there. There's a nice rubber thing around the electronic viewfinder. As I said, the screen is more structurally strong and stuff like that. Very durable, it feels. Even though these are plastic, they're probably the same, but they're just kind of built into the camera nicer, I would say. But yeah, a lot more metal in this camera. Obviously more heavy, very, very nice feel to it and weight to it as well. The lens is light, but you get a full metal surround. Also inside the lens there's more metal. Around the outside it's plastic, but it's kind of made to feel like metal. Obviously this lens is built to a better quality than the one on here, but I'm not saying this is bad quality. This is actually very, very good. As you can see, the mirror in there, the outside is full metal on here. You do get some nice patterns and stuff around the camera. Flash pops out. Pretty good, pretty sturdy on there. This one has a flash as well, which pops out. I mean, basically the same. They feel exactly the same. But yeah, as I said, quality-wise, this one is more robust and stuff. It looks like there's more holes on this than this one. This is probably more watertight than this camera. You can still chuck this around and it won't get damaged or, you know, dented as much as some other cameras out there, which you spend probably more money on and they're not as good quality. But yeah, Sony do make good quality cameras. Okay, right, now we get on to the ease of use. Now each camera is very similar, obviously because they're Sony. Both the menu systems are pretty much the same. All through the drive modes and stuff, settings for the autofocus and that. Go onto the second page, you can choose your file format as in the 4K. So as I mentioned, this can do 4K and it can do full HD. And there's resettings there. So even it can do 120 frames per second in 60 megabits per second, also 100 megabits per second, which is very important if you're doing kind of a big project and you want it the optimum quality you can get. This camera, the A6500, is a big leap over the A5000 because this has 5-axis stabilization in body, and then if you bung on an extra lens with OSS on it as well, you are pretty much winning with that. Finder settings and all that, it's very easy to, I mean, some people say the Sony system with the menus is very, very annoying. I find it easier than the Canon menu system. If you're going to believe that or not, but yeah, I do find it much easier. Also, this triumphs because it's got an electrical viewfinder which looks absolutely amazing through there. Very, very crisp. That is very cool to use if you're shooting in very, very bright sunlight, and also in low light situations. This is very, very handy to use. The swivel dial, also again, as I mentioned, it is easier on this camera than it is the A5000. Let me just show you. Here we have the A5000. So menu, there's no FM button, unlike the A6500. So it's all on the dial here, and if you want to change the photo shooting mode, you have to go into the menu and camera settings, and you choose it through here, which obviously takes more time than just a swivel wheel on top, which could be time consuming, but people who buy this camera are not going to care too much about that. The buttons, when I was going through photos, it was quite weird to know where you are with this camera because I've been coming from the other one, but it's easy for, you know, I mean, that's delete there, easy display, you can see what settings you shot at, even all the histograms and stuff like this. Yeah, so yeah, I would say both cameras are pretty easy to use, more so the A6500 because of the swivel wheel on top, and this can do your aperture and stuff like this, and it has 2 custom buttons here, another C3 down here as well, where the Sony A5000 doesn't have custom buttons. Okay, so there we go then, the 5 points, all went in depth with that. It's going to be quite a long video, but yeah, I just wanted to compare these cameras and see if it actually is worth £2,000. Now, I do want to add another thing. So you're probably thinking, why did my girlfriend buy this camera? Here's the answer. Now, all the Sony Alpha range, even the big boys like the Sony A7R2, the A7S II, people get annoyed with the damn screens that they can't flip up round and you can vlog yourself, take selfies, and do that sort of thing. They can only go halfway, which is so annoying, and then they don't come round this way, which is a pain in the ass. So like the rivals like Canon, they can come around the side and you can film yourself, and they make very good vlog cameras. Now, this camera, so when Sony brought out this, the A5000, before all the cameras had these different screens that can flip out, this one actually flips like that, so you can actually use this as a vlogging camera, and you can actually use it for taking selfies or whatever you may please. So yeah, this, you can film yourself, you can actually film yourself on a Sony Alpha camera, which seems insane because all the cameras don't have a flip screen, so that's why she didn't go for the A5100, because even in the 5100 they changed to the screen which doesn't flip out around and you can film yourself. So yeah, this was the only camera in the range which could do that, can flip out the screen, and that's why she bought it. But still, 20 megapixels, I mean, this is not kind of a, I mean, it's still an amateur photographer's camera. I mean, it has aperture priority mode, it has shutter priority mode, it has manual mode, it has movie mode, it has peaking in it as well. Video mode, it's got slow-mo as well, good lens on it. I mean, yeah, the screen flips. At the end of the day, what would I say? If you're heavily into video, do go for the A6500. Because it's going to give you a lot of variables there to shoot. 120 HD, 60 HD, 4K 30, 4K 24, 100 megabits and 50 megabits as well, which is absolutely insane. Some full frame cameras don't even do that. So the 1DX Mark II, you have to pay probably about 4 grand or 6 grand, I think that camera is, to get those things. But you can only pay 1,200 for this. I mean, that's just the body. You can choose another lens. You can choose Sigma lenses, which are cheaper than Sony ones, to bung on here. You can bung on this lens which I'm filming on right now, which is the 16 1.4, which is a very cool lens for Sony APS-C. Would I spend the 2 grand for it? I mean, yes, obviously, because I have the camera. But yeah, I do think it is worth if you are looking to up your game in the video area. Also the photos, I mean, it's so good. I've been using this camera and my A7R2 back to back, and they're pretty much, even though you do get more detail out of the A7R2, you can still use this for daily photos, uploading on websites, Instagram, Twitter, all those things. You can make nice prints out of this as well at 24 megapixels. This one, $299, just seems an absolute banging deal. You get 20 megapixels, you get all the manual modes and all the things I said. You get ISO up to 16,000, which is pretty good. And also you get this flip screen. So I would recommend this to any person who's starting a YouTube channel that wants to start vlogging. Buy it, 100%. $299, I mean, you can spend 500 to 700 quid on a G7X II, Mark II, I think they've got now, the Canon. That's got a flip screen that comes out. But if you want to be cheap, start off, you don't have much money to start a YouTube channel, buy one of these, $299 with the kit lens. This is good enough focal length, it's at 16mm. If you're just starting out photography, this is definitely a contender. I mean, $299 with a flip screen, good video capabilities, good camera, good image quality. $299. I keep saying $299, it's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah guys, there it is. 2 cameras compared in depth. I hope that gives you some good insight. I hope I've given you info on if you're struggling to buy a camera, your first camera, or you're struggling to know what camera to upgrade to. If you've had an A6000 or an A6300, is it worth upgrading to this? Some people say it's not. I'd probably say yes. I hope I helped you with your camera buying. If you do want more videos like this, comment down below. But yes guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you do enjoy it, and I'll see you next one. Goodbye.